Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Coming back at you, another offering. Off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler review series reviews I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. Eat stuff and drink stuff, then, folks. I'm going to talk about the stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. I'm getting a review of root beer. That typically makes me happy. But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammer on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. Whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, though? Happens to be my 12 Stones shirt. Yeah, it's a cool shirt. Just classic band logo shirt. The hell is 12 Stones, though? So 12 Stones are kind of an alternative, hard rock, kind of new metal-ish band that saw probably their biggest success in the early 2000s era. The thing that they're probably best known for is the fact that the lead singer, he was the guest vocalist on the song Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, which obviously is a tremendously successful song, so he did the rapping vocals on that. And, to his absolute credit, the dude's a solid vocalist, and that shines through way more so than in that particular song, but in his own band, 12 Stones. They are still going to this day. I actually got to see them perform live a few months ago at the time I'm doing this. It was a really fun show. It kicked a lot of ass. And I actually went over there and got some videos of their performance that I attended. Those videos are on my channel in case maybe you want to check them out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction as far as their music is concerned because I just think they're awesome. Go away, fly. I'm giving you the out. Anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Root beer, eh? The fly literally... Whatever. I'll deal with it. Root beer, eh? So yes, folks, if you watch my channel, you probably know... Okay, go. You probably know I'm a big fan of root beer. I'm also a big fan of continuing my review regardless of the goddamn situation. But yeah, I like root beer a whole lot. It's one of my favorite drinks. So much so I have an entire playlist called Root Beer Reviews. This review will be on there, but it's also going to end up on another playlist of mine, specifically Eating Out Illinois, because this is an Illinois root beer. Because, folks, it happens to be, boom, from the Cubby Bear. This is established in 1953, don't you know? This is their draft-style root beer made with pride in the Windy City. So the Cubby Bear is a fairly famous establishment. Of course, it has the direct correlation to the Chicago Cubs. I've never actually been there. I'm not really a huge sports guy, so, but maybe this will be a reason for me to go. Let's find out together. First of all, let's get a thing for the thing. It looks like this. Well, maybe we can do it like that. Yeah. Ha 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 ha! Hopefully it's a twist off. Are you twist off? Yes, you are. Yay! Thank you, Cubby Bear. I do have a thing next to me, so if I had to pop it open, I could, but let's give this a go. Decent scent. Got some, kind of a little bit of a caramel kind of... Okay. It's decent. There's nothing about it I dislike, per se. But it's not exactly, really kind of thrilling me the way I was hoping. Whenever I try a new root beer, I'm always hoping for the best, who knows, maybe this will be my new favorite root beer. This definitely won't be my new favorite root beer, but it's definitely going to be nowhere near, the bottom of the pile or anything. It'd be somewhere sort of upper middle-ish. The flavor on it's decent. It's definitely a draft style. It's very smooth to drink, which, I do tend to personally prefer harsher root beers, but, I'm perfectly fine with a draft style. It's not overly sweet, which I do like, but it doesn't really have it doesn't have a lot of bite, and it doesn't really have a lot of complexity to it. It's very, maybe not one note, but like sort of 1.5 note. It's not doing a lot to entice the palate. It's just a solid tasting root beer, which is perfectly fine. But at this point, I'm almost 40 years old. I've had more root beer in my life than most people have in their entire runs. I like my root beer to be, a little bit interesting, or, to at least have some kick to it or something. This, yeah, it's just a nice, smooth, decent tasting root beer. It's not throwing any surprises at you, but that can be both good and bad, because just because the root beer is interesting doesn't necessarily mean that it's good, depending on what you want. This is definitely a very commercial root beer. Again, like, I could definitely see this being good to have on draft. It's not doing anything wrong. It's just not doing much to stand out. It's basically like my entire high school career, which was like, I showed up for class and shit. I passed most of my classes typically, but, wasn't nobody going to go over there and be like, oh, Brandon's on to great things. That's actually not true. I did have a few teachers who were like, if you just put in a little more effort, should have done that. This, for what it is, though, is definitely how I ended my high school career, regardless of what some of my teachers thought. In that, yeah, it's solid. It gets the job done, but it's kind of unremarkable. It's decent, if a bit underwhelming. But two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Yes, caveat. Yes, caveat. So here's the thing. Would I get this again? Sure. If I was at the Cubby Bear. If I got it actually on draft, I would be willing to go over there and get it while I was there. To be part of the experience. I do like root beer. And again, it's a good tasting draft root beer. In that instance, sure. Because there's the added weight to it. And again, it's still a solid product. Excuse me. Would I, however, just go over there and pick up another bottle of the stuff, just kind of because? Probably not, just because, although I don't dislike it, at the same time, there's just so many other root beers out there that I like more that, like, I don't really need to come back around to this one, Like, it's not bad, but it just doesn't have a lot of personality. There's no complexity to it. It's a good commercial root beer. Works perfectly in a draft sense. I'm not against it, but I just wish that it was a little bit more spectacular. So for me, it's not really worth, like I said, reinvesting in. Now, if I'm recommending it, here's the thing. I like root beer that tastes like what I like root beer to taste like. I fully understand that not everybody likes that. And in fact, considering that A&W is probably the most popular root beer in the world, I am definitely in the minority, right? So in that regard, this might be perfectly fine for a lot of people. Like, it's going to hit the notes you want to hit. It doesn't have like a, sort of medicine-y taste that some harsher root beers do. Again, really nice commercial root beer, and it has, some decent aspects to it, even if, again, it's a little bit underwhelming. I don't know that it's going to be anybody's favorite root beer, but at the very least, it'll be a good tasting root beer that'll get the job done. But, again, if you're maybe a little bit more of a connoisseur like myself, you might find it to be just a little bit... So, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there yourselves a truly root beer-tastic rest of your life. Because, folks, when it's root beer, it's always root beer-tastic. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what do you do if you can't do it all the time? I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. When we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there, whenever possible. Take a step back. try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully. Do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your favorite type of root beer? Do you have a favorite brand? Do you have a favorite style? I've mentioned plenty of times that for me, when it comes to, sort of commercial root beers, I tend to probably prefer the ones that are a little bit harsher. I like Barks. I like Dad's is a personal favorite of mine. Stuff like that. Virgil's, it's a little bit more artisanal, I guess, but I like root beers that are interesting, that have stuff going on, but same time, I'm not going to go over there and shit on a A&W or a mug or something like that. It's just, not my immediate preference, but let me know. Anyway.